YouTube is a place where trend hopping pays off big. I'm talking about millions of dollars big. And when everyone's talking about how YouTube is the second largest search engine and blah, 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 we all know the real truth. And the truth is that major growth on YouTube is definitely possible. And you can even do it in a short amount of time by triggering the YouTube algorithm to recommend your video out to the masses, by suggesting your video out to them, by showing your thumbnail on the screen in front of your viewers. And this is literally all that some YouTubers do. And the best YouTubers out there, well, they use trends to make their videos go viral. Today, that's all we're going to be talking about. Forget SEO. Today, you're going to learn the secrets to using trends to grow your YouTube channel. All right, my name is Augie Johnston, and I'm here with my co-host, Grant Ball. This episode is sponsored by VidChops.com, which will help take the burden of editing totally off your hands. So if you want help with your video editing, head over to VidChops.com. Grant, like I said, we're going to be talking about trends today. And really, when you want to use trends to trigger the algorithm or grow bigger on YouTube, we're mostly talking about coming up with video topics that kind of fall in line with these trends and follow these trends. So I think that's where we should start is start talking, because trends can mean a lot of things, right? And I guess, just off the top of the head right now, what do you think about when you hear the word using trends to grow on YouTube? What's the first thing that pops to your head?
I think collective consciousness, kind of an abstract answer, but it's something that a bunch of people are obsessed with right now. It's a cultural phenomenon. So there's obvious ways to measure this, like are things trending on Twitter? Are people talking about it? Because when it comes to YouTube, I think compared to Twitter is a secondary actor. Like it takes longer to make a video than it does to make a tweet. So Twitter, I think, is maybe the fastest measure of trends that are happening right now. And then YouTube, it kind of spills over into that pretty quickly. But so yeah, I tend to just think collective consciousness. What are people thinking about? Even in my circle of friends or coworkers, like if there's some meme like Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, like it's it's popular.
Yeah, that's a good example right there, right? That as soon as that happened, you're right. It blew up on Twitter. Now people are starting on YouTube to create videos talking about it. That's like a newsworthy trend to me. So there's your first tip right now. Pay attention to Twitter and just look for newsworthy trends, right? If something happens and it's on the news, well, can it be somehow mixed into a video topic for whatever you're talking about on YouTube? And that's one way to hop on that trend. And you don't got to all of a sudden dedicate your life to that, but maybe just drop a quick video. Can you push out a video on the next day that talks about that Will Smith thing and relate it to your combat, martial art YouTube channel? You probably could, and maybe that could get you some views. So that was a good one. I don't use Twitter too much for that, but I definitely need to start paying attention. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to mention is there's different paces of trends. I think the fastest paced ones, if you want to be plugged in, you do have to frequent Twitter. I'm not somebody who likes being on Twitter a lot, so I don't think my brain this isn't really advice for me. If you're somebody who doesn't mind just scrolling through Twitter all the time, maybe you should mind doing that. But if you don't, then this is a good place for you. Trending hashtags, things like that. You can, as long as you can pump out videos quickly, then this is very relevant to your own YouTube channel. You can predict what's going to do well on YouTube based on what people are talking about elsewhere.
Yeah, for most people, their Twitter account, they're following all the people in their industry, right? That's kind of how it works. You pay attention to your industry and just other thought leaders there. And so you should be able to pick up and see how other people are talking about that trend and kind of get your own opinion, maybe your own spin-off on that trend. So that's like a newsworthy trend, because like we said at the beginning, trends are kind of abstract, right? The idea of what is a trend on YouTube could go in all sorts of different ways. Editing trends, filming trends. Right now, we're kind of talking about video topic trends. So let's kind of stick with that and dive into a few other ones. So what about a seasonal trend? Like, is that even a thing? Like, is December, are we seeing Christmas videos pop up and do well because they're just about Christmas somehow?
Uh, I think yes, if you're in the right sphere, if you're kind of a more personal channel and you're decorating your house with, some awesome decorations, you're embracing the Christmas vibe, then sure, I think it's at least it's an excuse to make a video. It flavors your video a certain way. I think there can be a seasonal appeal, but also if you're just kind of a news channel, I mean, then you're probably just going to be talking about whatever's happening. I guess if you wore a Santa hat or something, that could be cool. But it. I wouldn't say following seasonal trends is going to get you more views, but I think it can help you have ideas for content based on what you're doing.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, my advice is test it, right? If you drop a Christmas video every Christmas, does it actually, outperform all your most recent videos at that time? Then great, you got a little formula there. But I would agree with what you said. Like, I don't know if I think that's really the way to use trends. Like, if that's your only way you're going to use trends, then you're probably missing the boat right now of what we're really trying to tell. But I do say, like, it doesn't need to be holiday related when you're talking about seasonal. Like, it could also be industry specific seasonal. So just depending what industry you're in. So let's say you're a skateboarding YouTube channel, and at every point of the year, it's some big competition. It's the biggest competition of the year, and it's in June. So when June comes around, that you want to hit that up. That's going to be trending in that niche. YouTube might see more videos with that in the title or as a topic, and push it out to more people searching for it at that time or whatever. But yeah, seasonal, I think there's opportunities there, but it kind of depends, I guess, what niche you're in. I'm yeah. So all right, let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's talk a little bit about, like, what I call this industry specific trends. So, I kind of just gave a little bit of this of my analysis of it when I talked about the skateboarding one. But here's my example, and then you can kind of take it maybe in any direction you want. But I like to watch personal finance videos, and I'm talking about guys like Meet Kevin, Graham Stephan. There's a longer list than that. But anyways, these guys right now, the trend is the recession. Right, it's in this niche right now, in this personal finance. People are making videos about the recession. So, and it's not just like one guy, right? They're all doing it. And so this is a trend, and I guess this is similar to like a newsworthy trend, but definitely one for this industry specific. What are some other like industry trends that you can think of that might only be specific to a certain industry?
So one is like football season. One of my roommate, actually, he has a client who has a channel that essentially covers the NFL. Whatever controversy is happening or some big game or whatever, he makes videos regarding the NFL. And so football season, as you can imagine, he's making more videos than he is when it's not football season. So for him, I think following trends comes down to organizing his workload and his schedule so that he's available when it is football season to make not as many videos as possible, but to be geared up to make more videos than usual. And it's just that in that case is about time management, I think, and obviously being willing to be tapped into what's going on during football season more often than when it's not football season.
Yeah, I think it's kind of related to niching down in a way. Like, when you want to, we're talking about identifying industry specific trends. Like, you want to niche down and say, what am I in? What am I specifically in? And then you got to pay attention from there and say, okay, what's happening in the news in this industry? What are they talking about on Twitter in this industry? What are other creators making videos about in this industry? And then you'll be able to identify those trends. And I could see definitely in the football world, like you were talking about, we're talking about American football, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. in that world, you need to be definitely paying attention to Sports Center, right? Or ESPN, right? You're just like watching that and you're just coming up with so many good trending video topics every single day as they talk about some guy who fails his drug test or a guy setting some sort of record, right? The world record was just set. Well, you drop the video the next day. YouTube recognizes that everyone's watching videos about that amazing event because they want to see what it actually looked like. They weren't there, right? And then they want to hear your opinion on it or whatever. What kind of channel does he have? Does he give out opinions? Is it highlights? What is it?
It's more. It does have some opinions. It's very, something like Deflategate will happen, and he'll just kind of do a funny analysis of it. Pretty short videos. He's a small channel. Oh God, I'm blanking on the channel's name, but it's he is at a point where he's just starting to grow. And though word of the wise here, if you're thinking of starting an NFL channel, he does deal with copyright claims a lot. The NFL is pretty stingent with using footage and things like that. So buyer beware.
Yeah, and that's that fair use. He's probably trying to sneak under those fair use ones, and it's tough. That's a tough way to do it, but yeah, I mean, there is that in place, and he sounds like he's doing it the right way, so that's good. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some other video topic trends. So this one, we don't need to spend a lot of time on this one, but it's an interesting phenomenon. It's only related. I mean, I don't think you're going to do this as a personal finance channel, but I'm talking about like trends like the cinnamon challenge trend and like these weird kind of like the ASL trend when people are raising money for the disease, and people did the ice bucket challenge. Like that was a trend, although I don't know if YouTubers really incorporated that into their videos or not, but I guess they could have.
Oh, some definitely did.
Okay, I saw it all over Facebook.
ALS, yeah.
ALS, there we go. Yeah, and that was really cool. So these kind of like a little bit off-topic trends. I don't know what to call them. Maybe challenge trends. Like, can you use those to grow? Like for me, example, like I want to make a YouTube channel for VidChops about video editing tricks and tips, videography tips, stuff like that. Could I use these kind of trends to grow?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Especially the nice thing is, especially so the ice bucket challenge. That is a very specific set of words. So if you make a video about the ice bucket challenge, you're doing your own, then it's going to be very easy for you to piggyback on other people's ice bucket challenges. So it's sure, why not? I think that's a sort of flash in the pan trend. You have to hit it within a week or two. If you aren't able to do that, then you probably aren't going to grow. You really do have to hit these things at their peak, or it has to be just insanely clever. Sometimes a meme is kind of on its way out. Like, oh God, what was the one? I'm just blanking all over the place today. But
what was it? Do you remember what exactly the challenge was? Because there's a couple weird ones I'm thinking about.
It was the one where everybody is really still, and then all of a sudden they start dancing when the beat drops.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever the name of that challenge was, it came and it went so far that neither of us can remember what it is. I can't even describe what it is very well. But yeah, like you can use these challenges to grow as long as you are clever enough and as long as you hit them soon enough. And I'd say as long as you actually enjoy doing the challenge. If something seems dumb to you, like the cinnamon challenge, for instance, potentially a health hazard. If that seems dumb to you, then maybe don't do it. Not only because it's a health hazard, but because you're going to be filming yourself and people are going to notice that you're not really in the zone. You're not enjoying this. You're just, I don't know, being a little attention seeker. It'll come off, I swear.
Those kind of trends popped up all over on TikTok, right? When you see like the AirPod, or not AirPod, what was like the one where they ate the Tide Pod challenge? There we go.
Oh God, yeah.
And some weird ones like that. Those are like the more recent versions, I guess. And to me, like those challenges, although I know like the cinnamon challenge, I think originated on YouTube. This was years ago now. I think that those other challenges are now more like short form to me content. Although I don't know. I don't pay attention to those as much as I used to. Back when I was like 10 years ago, I was more of a interested in like just different type of content on YouTube. Obviously now I'm like all into that business finance world, which is super boring to most people. Maybe I need to go back and touch my roots as a kid and look at some old, I don't know, PewDiePie videos. Anyways,
Watch those Happy Wheel videos.
Happy Wheel. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the way, it was the Harlem Shake. It was the Harlem Shake. I just thought of it.
Got you.
Remember that?
The Harlem Shake. Yeah, that was a different one than I was thinking of. But yeah, I mean that's an even more throwback one. The one I was thinking about was actually the music's playing and everyone's just frozen, and the camera in one take is going around, and this one song is playing, and it's just like everyone's frozen. Anyways, it was a trend. Yeah, like I to me personally, I would put this kind of in the category of the seasonal ones, where like if this is all you're doing to grow your YouTube channel is these like weird little challenge trends, like probably missing the boat. You probably want to go with these industry specific trends that stay in that world. It just depends on what kind of content you're making too, but let's keep it going. So let's talk a little bit about like political trends. I think we saw this with COVID, which it wasn't really political, but it was political obviously. But with COVID, right, like that was a trend. Right, people were hopping on that trend, making their COVID videos. All of a sudden, some interior design channel might have a like, I redesigned my house during COVID, or 5 tips on how to get supplies during COVID, or stuff like that. What kind of trends did you see pop up, either political ones or COVID ones?
I mean, Trump was a big trend just in general.
Yeah.
Anybody who talked about him, especially negatively, I think, got a lot of views. But I guess on both sides, really. You could definitely build an audience just by kind of addressing whatever he was doing or saying. As far as COVID, I mean, lockdown videos, anybody talking about their experience during the lockdown, if it was actually insightful or interesting. I think that period of time created some interesting videos that were the product of isolation, videos that a YouTuber or somebody with a skill with a camera and editing software never would have made if they weren't kind of living by themselves for a long period of time, if they weren't in lockdown. I think it produced a lot of mindfulness type videos and solitude type videos, the value of solitude, how to put a positive spin on all your time alone. I think when big events like that happen, if you can share your experience during those events and give some insight that you learned, something that you feel is valuable, if you can kind of share that message and that feeling, then yeah, you can do well for sure. And that's also a nice trend too, because, well, I don't know if nice trend is the right word, but because it was so large scale and you could still make a COVID video or like how COVID affected me video. But even the lockdown videos, you could have done that for like a year and it would have been relevant.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like those ideas right there. And I think those are all good opportunities too for to get a little personal, like with your audience. Like I feel like not enough people do that, because at least in this older generation of content creators, I'm talking about people, 35 plus creating videos on YouTube. They're pretty cut and dry, a lot of value, right? A lot of information is being given in the videos, but they're pretty cut and dry. And you never see them with their hair messed up. You never see them with a vlog camera, right? It's always in the studio. It's always, in the same shirt and the same everything, just delivering their content. Every video looks exactly the same. Like, now COVID hits, why not grab the camera, sit in front of the couch, do some kind of trending thing like that could just add a little variety and get a little personal. I think that's always a good touch. I think the younger generation remembers, or what they see more is like younger kids in their rooms, in their bedrooms, right, with a camera, like getting like different angles in their bedrooms, and so they're more used to like that personal touch, seeing it. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on. The last one that I'm going to bring up before we start talking about like some crazy other types, like not really video topic related, but more just miscellaneous types of trends, which are very interesting, by the way. Let's talk about pop culture trends. Maybe we already covered this, But let's say I guess this is more newsworthy type trends. But my advice here is just pay attention to pop culture, because something can be happening, and you need to try to analyze the situation. Like I'm trying to give you help here. Analyze the situation and say, how does this relate to my niche or my industry? And how can I incorporate it into a video that makes sense for my viewers? Because you are niched down, right? Everyone is niched down. You should be, to a certain degree. You don't want to make a video that's just so off topic. Like every single video I release is about XYZ, and then all of a sudden doing welcome to the cinnamon challenge today, guys. Like that's gonna put off your audience. They're gonna click away. So although some variety is good, but like it has to be incorporated into the theme of your channel. So Grant, is there any pop culture ones you can think of, or just maybe talk a little bit about how you incorporate these trends into your niche?
I mean, one I can think of that I almost did and that I think would have done well is a fidget spinner video. So, everybody remembers fidget spinners. What was that, like 2018, 2017, that kind of era? I wanted to make a video about the connection between fidget spinners and like low attention spans or kind of ADHD, that kind of, scattered mindset that I think has become increasingly more relevant. It's become not more popular, but more people, I think, have less focus now than ever because of all of the information that we're exposed to every day. And so fidget spinners were a function of that. They were an interesting phenomenon. I think I could have made a relevant, philosophical and silly video about fidget spinners and what they mean, where they came from, what they're all about. I still have a couple fidget spinners even. So trends like that, I think, can be worth covering if you are able to talk about it in your own way. So even fidget spinners, there was a lot of like silly videos like I bought 1,000 fidget spinners and gave them away, or like I would never make a video like that. For me, I'm gonna make something sort of philosophical, psychological, more in depth. As long as you're staying true to yourself with these silly trends, I think they're always worth doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree too. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen, right? You make a video about a trend. You're like, I think I'm going to go for it this time, and it doesn't blow up. That's okay. You made one video about it. No worries. But if you continue trying to hop on these trends, what we're talking about, triggering the algorithm, right, is eventually, you will get a video that goes, whoa, this video just got a nice little rush of views over the past, 30 days. Crazy. That never happened to me before. And then, it'll have a trickle down effect to the rest of your videos. It'll get you some subscribers. And it's because you made a video about a trend that people are searching for. People are watching all the way through, telling the YouTube algorithm they're interested in, and they promoted your video out because yours fell in line with that trend. All right. So let's talk a little bit about these off-topic type trends, like editing trends. Right? Like, do you ever can you give us an example of maybe like an editing trend that you've seen on YouTube come and go, or maybe one that stuck?
I mean, YouTube poop is the first thing that comes to mind. A horrible answer. Are you familiar with YouTube poop, Augie?
No, I'm not. Why don't you tell me about
it? So it's pretty OG YouTube. This was around 2010, maybe even earlier. And YouTube poop is, I mean, it's just terrible. You take a TV show or like popular memes at the time and you just kind of edit it all together. So like, let's say you take a clip of Sonic the Hedgehog eating a chili dog and then he says, gotta go fast. Like YouTube poop would play the clip normally, and then you would replay the part where he says gotta go fast, but at like 20% speed, and then it zooms in on his face, and then like he multiplies and pixelates in horrible music. It's like completely random bullshit chaos, meme lord poop. It's poop. I mean, it's horrible, but it was really popular back in the day. I think a lot of younger kids liked it, teenagers, it just there was an element of chaos to it that I think YouTube collectively appreciated. So YouTube poop, the biggest editing trend I can think of. I'm sure you have a more normal answer.
Well, I mean, one thing is maybe not a trend, but one thing that kind of YouTube kind of like standardized is jump cutting, right? So that's like maybe not a trend, but
Oh
something
yeah,
that wasn't really accepted before YouTube, but now everyone
that's a
does it.
good one. That's a
Yeah,
that's a huge one. Jump cuts changed
games.
everything.
Yeah, really. I think it came from the need of like, hey, I'm making a video. I'm not going to do it in one take, because
Mm-hmm.
when I started on YouTube, 2000, it might have been around 2009, 10. I was trying to one take things, and I cannot believe that. Like that's a rookie move. Rookies do that on YouTube. When you start out, even nowadays, I feel like some people feel like they have to one take it. But some other editing trends are like the zoom ins, right? Like those crop ins. Now, if you see like a talking head, people are going to zoom in, zoom out when they're trying to say something.
Oh, there was one where a YouTuber would say a sentence. It was usually kind of a high energy clip. And instead of just kind of saying it to the camera, they would do like 3 words in one location, 3 words in another. And it was like, it would build a lot of hype. Like, I'm going to the mall. It's like you say I'm in your house, going in your car to you're in the parking lot, the mall is in the mall. I don't know. That's kind of a dumb example, but it was a thing for sure. Like if you were trying to build hype around whatever it was, like, yeah, my life is awesome, everything is great, kind of generic motivational video, you can say one line on a beach, one line on a mountaintop, one line swimming through beautiful scenery. And it was very effective, and it was super popular. I don't know, maybe 3 years ago for a couple years, and then I think I know I notice it less. I feel like it happens less now. So yeah, I think all these are valid answers. Jump cuts, though, as simple as the answer is, I still think that's the biggest one. Because yeah, as you said, people no longer had to do everything in one take. We weren't in the Hollywood mindset of you must say your line perfectly into the camera. No, I mean it just saves you a ton of time. Obviously, if you have too many jump cuts, then it's gonna seem inauthentic. But even then, I think there's a lot of wiggle room. People, I don't know how many people actually notice.
Yeah, some people they just jump cut every single word. It feels like sometimes, and sometimes I kind of like that sometimes, honestly. But I remember there was a time when people were saying, "Oh, you have to jump cut. It keeps the viewer's attention." I don't know how true that is, but it does give you that little shock, I guess. But okay, so hey, editing trends. What about like thumbnail trends? Now, this is an interesting one because
Hmm.
people will jack other people's thumbnails, like straight up just copy them. Like Mr. Beast comes out with a video topic and you can see his thumbnail, and then 500 other creators come out with the exact same topic or a little bit different, maybe with the exact same thumbnail even. The one that comes to mind to me is the orange jacket trend. Not jacket, it's like the suit that you wear in prison, that orange prison
Hmm.
suit. All like this kind of Mr. Beast style videos, like those those thumbnails, everyone started having that in their thumbnail. They were just like wearing that, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And but yeah, what are some other thumbnail trends that you might have seen?
Uh, I mean the sort of obvious one is the really emotional face, like the
Yeah.
really expressive face, reacting to whatever, like could be a scary moment in a movie or a video game, or some silly prank challenge, whatever. I think the bad part of that trend was, you'd have faces that just did not represent what was actually happening. It was hammy, it was cringy. Um, I think to do that one right, you just kind of have to be more authentic. If something's not that scary, don't play it up too much. Otherwise, you're ham. Unless you're able to do it in like a funny way, an ironic way. Irony always helps. Then you can do what's popular while also making fun of it. Pro tip.
Yeah, the trend that I'll talk about next for thumbnails is like the I don't know how to explain it, the sharp, extra sharp looking face. Right? There's this
Yes.
certain
Yes.
filter that a lot of people use, And being in the space, like like the YouTube, how to grow on YouTube space, like I listen to what a lot of people say, a lot of like YouTube consultants and experts, and the reason these things are trending is because that's what these people are saying to do. They're saying, hey, the big face, and it's what I teach too, the big face. And the funny thing is, a lot of them will say, and you got to throw the filter on. Like, I don't know how that much matters with the click through rate, but a lot of people recommend you throw this little filter on there, get it extra sharp. And so that is definitely a trend. It looks like you might have a little opinion on that or something. Have you seen that extra sharp filter?
Oh yeah, yeah. It'll usually be for podcasts, like a podcast clip. It'll show like, I don't know, Jordan Peterson's face, but he looks 1,000 years old because they've increased the texture so much. Or I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually, at least the way I do it when I make thumbnails, I do this to pretty much every face I put in a thumbnail. It's the raw camera filter in Photoshop, so you can increase texture, clarity, saturation, contrast. All these things play into how sharp an image looks. And I sometimes I think overdoing it is the real trend. I think there will always be a place for raw camera filter, but the trend of overdoing it, I like to think, has overstayed its welcome. But the trend of doing it correctly will always be here forever.
I personally like the look, like I'm always like mad that I can't get it right. I'm like, how do you do that again? I gotta Google it. But yeah, like for me, like I'm guilty of all the trends, right? I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So don't put anything past me, as you hear us saying, like kind of knocking on maybe some of these different looks on and trends and stuff, because it's all part of your YouTube journey. You're gonna iterate and change, improve your thumbnails, or maybe you don't like what you're doing and make a change. So yeah, so there's a lot of other things I could go into with the thumbnails trends, but we won't spend too much time. The last one I want to talk about, though, is like the little red circle with the arrow pointing to it.
Oh, God,
because
yeah.
sometimes you'll see a thumbnail and you'll be like, what is that? It's a field of grass, and then there's a circle with an arrow, and then you're like, world's most dangerous bug. You're like, oh God, I gotta click this. And yeah, so have you ever tried that? Have you used that method? Like what is that?
Yeah, I think so I used to edit for a channel called Minus World, and it'd be like Mario looking scared, and something would be circled that he's afraid of. Some silly stuff. I think the red circle, well, first of all, the color red is very catching to the eye. It's the color of blood. I think we're kind of programmed to notice it standing out. I think it's really easy for that style to be cheesy, or to look ugly. I don't think it necessarily has to, but I do think it's a good way of highlighting something in a thumbnail, right? Because the real goal of a thumbnail is always to appeal to people subconsciously and instantly. So when you circle something in red, it obviously highlights it exactly where it is. It's a trick. I think it can be worth doing as long as the outline isn't too thick or the text isn't ugly, as long as things are balanced. Like, you can use it, but the trend you're talking about, I know exactly. I mean, it still happens, I guess, but it seems like 2015 to 2018, that was like the peak of the red circle, I would say.
Yep, totally agree. All right. So there's other kinds of trends too that we'll talk about briefly, like filming. Is there any trends that you're like, whoa, everyone's shooting their videos like this now? Is that a thing?
There was the drone trend. I think that was most common in vloggers. They'd just fly their drone and overdo the drone shots. I think Casey Neistat, there were a lot of videos that were inspired by him. Just kind of showing a lot of time lapses and drone shots, establishing shots, kind of telling a daily story about your life. I think the concept of the daily vlog, that I feel like it's less common now than it was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
That's true. And that's because of Casey, probably.
Yeah. And even he's kind of overmaking them as well. Like
Yeah.
I think he just made a documentary about David Dobrik, and he's just kind of taking it around film festivals, things like that. So he's not even doing his daily vlog anymore, which props to him. I think he's got the time, he's got the money, he's just hanging with his family, making things at his leisure. But yeah, the daily vlog trend I think is the biggest, and too many drone shots.
Yeah, and I remember when Casey Neistat was still vlogging and stuff, and I was creating videos. I always was like, I need to start vlogging. I gotta vlog, dude. And I did
Right.
vlog for a little bit. Everyone felt like they had to. It's like, this is the best, dude. It's awesome. But yeah, so that would cause a trend, right? Just Casey blowing up, cause it. Casey like I know him, but yeah, that would just make it. He created that trend, I guess, or promoted it. Okay, there's other kind of trends too, like what I think right now, like we are looking kind of at like a at micro trends, right? All these small little trends that come and go, some stick, right? Like the vlogging trends stuck. Like some more macro trends that you might see come and go, or even come and stays, like van life, right? Like all of a sudden, like van life is a trend, and there's all these channels popping up about van life. I'm not interested in van life, but YouTube was actually recommending van life videos to me. I don't know where in the algorithm that happened. Did you ever get recommended that stuff?
Oh yeah, totally. I still watch van life videos. That was for sure a big thing, especially during COVID. Yeah, when everybody's like, "Oh my god, we're trapped in our houses, but we can go outside and go on awesome road trips." Like that was van life peak probably. Um, yeah, I think there was something freeing about van life. It felt spontaneous. It felt relevant. Like you can just drive away. You can just leave. Screw society. Just live out in the forest in your van and drive to the desert and walk your dog. And I don't know. It's van life was the best. I enjoyed it. Still
Yeah,
do.
yeah. I actually like YouTube kind of like indoctrinated me into van life. Like I had no interest in camping or van life or any of that kind of stuff. They started promoting those videos to me, and now I'm like, I'm about to buy a van. It's crazy how that works, like in the power of social media in general with that. But one quick thing I'll mention about van life, which you probably know or maybe not, is it was like the perfect storm, right? Van life is being promoted everywhere on YouTube, and then this one girl comes out with like one video and has the perfect storm of the trend, the ultimate thumbnail. Was a beautiful young lady, and I think she was in like a bikini or something on the. I can't remember exactly. There was some sort of like thing to it in front of her van, and her video blew up. Like I don't know how many million. I'd have to Google it, but I know like it was like her first or second video, and YouTube promoted it so much that it got like I want to say like tens of millions of views, which is
Is
crazy.
this the girl with the snake?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember who you're talking about. I haven't checked out her channel in a while. I That was a great video. She
Yeah.
good vibes, good
Perfect storm.
vibes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. That's what I meant. Like, it was well done video. So that just goes to show you that like if you can, like if you are feeling down about YouTube right now, like just know like, hey, if you create that perfect video with that perfect thumbnail and that perfect trend, like, hey, it could change your life. Okay, let's go ahead and close out this with the best part of the whole entire show. I'm going to ask you for any predictions that you have on any future trends on YouTube or just online video in general. So, do you have any predictions on any trends?
So, so one we were talking about before this is I feel like there's going to be a YouTube cult. Like, there's going to be some charismatic person who is just going to start talking into a camera about the age of Aquarius or some new age something rather. Could be, I don't know, could be a Christian one as well, but some sort of spiritual group is going to form around some charismatic YouTube figure. uh I feel like because times are so weird, like they're much more open to kind of uh, a dedicated spiritual charismatic presence. For some reason, the times feel ripe for that right now. I kind of feel like I'm babbling on a soapbox right now, but I think it so, some crazy priest YouTube shaman, not shaman, though I don't know, they could call themselves one, which could potentially be cringe, depending on who they are. But that's my prediction: is YouTube cults going to be a thing.
They're going to be everywhere, man. Like even when you create your account, it'll be kind of like prison, like when you create your account, they'll be like, well, what cult are you part of? And you have to, from a drop down list, you just select, there it is. Okay. That helps the algorithm so much. You have no idea. All right. Yeah, no, I could see that. Like I mentioned this too earlier, like Andrew Tate. I don't even want to say his name. I'm not a big fan of the guy, but he almost seems like a cult leader. Like right now, like with COVID and politics and everything, I think like you said, it's ripe for the taking. Like if all of a sudden you just want to be the anti-COVID or the super pro-Trump or the I don't know, the other side, like the person who is still out there wearing double mask, triple vaxxed. If you're that person, like you could probably become on social media the person that speaks for that group of people and almost build like that cult. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
okay. I mean, I think we've already seen it. I mean, let's like,
yeah.
There already is cults on YouTube, I feel like, but maybe not bad ones. Like in a way, you could say Mr. Beast has created like a positive cult, right? All the philanthropy stuff that he does, planting trees and stuff. Like he's got some followers there. Maybe a PewDiePie. I don't know. I'd have to think hard, but yeah.
A cult of personality. You could always argue that any fan base can be cult-like. I think whenever we use the word cult, it's always there's like consequences for leaving. There's usually some sort of religious dogma. I think that's the biggest one when I mean cult is like there's some sort of spirituality aspect to it that for some reason, whenever you tie that up with groups of people, that's when things get like really nuts. I think because everybody thinks they're ordained by God to do whatever they're doing. That tends to be the threshold for the real crazy stuff.
All right, yeah, that's a good one. Cults is definitely going to be a thing. Now, let me go ahead and give a quick one before we get out of here. I think that green screen videos are going to be a trend. I think that it's going to become easier and easier to use green screens and get a great look. And people are going to kind of want to disguise their backgrounds. I've seen in a tech video, this guy is one of the founders of HubSpot, if you know what that is, just a software. He has a background of his living room. So you think he's sitting in the living room when you're watching. You're like, wow, that's a really clean living room. But really his living room is a mess. And he's in front of a little green screen right there. And he's created a 3D mock-up of his living room. And I think we're going to start seeing that. It's just going to add a little bit more convenience to a YouTuber's life who might have to like totally transform their whole house into like different places to record. No, we just use digital ones and could be a trend. I'm already starting to see some creators mess with it, and I'm starting to mess with it myself. So yeah, that's mine. That's my prediction. Any other predictions before we go ahead and close this out?
I think that one's exciting because the amount of time I've spent just clearing things out of my backgrounds, this is going to be a big time saver for sure. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I agree. I also think like AI is going to start showing its head on YouTube a little bit more, like maybe AI generated videos. Who knows? I don't know. That's scary to me.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, AI is going to be huge. I don't know how soon exactly, but within the next 10 years, I think we're going to start to see massive channels that use AI in some way, shape, or form. Even I actually just subscribed to an AI service where it generates images for you, and it does a fantastic job, like crazy good. Like it made these beautiful images. I put in like, I told it to generate something with sacred geometry and a woman and an eye and space. And it was like, I mean, this type of thing would take a human 100 hours to make, maybe, or at least many hours. And it did it in like a minute. So these are the times we live in, people.
Yeah, is that called Midjourney or what? Do you know the name of it?
Midjourney. Yep.
Yeah, I spent some time on there the other day as well, and yes, totally mind blowing. There's people already using AI to script their YouTube videos and stuff like that. So it's coming. All right, thank you guys to everybody who listened all the way to the end today. If you guys do like these podcasts, we really appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes. That's where we have the biggest potential to grow. So if you're feeling like giving back because you just got some value from this episode, then head over to iTunes. You can actually just go to videocreator.co/iTunes and then I'll take you to our iTunes page where you can do that. So again, that's Video Creator, no E at the end there, VID, Video Creator, no E.co, and slash iTunes, and leave us a review. This episode was brought to you by VidChops.com. So if you need help with your video editing, head over to VidChops. And that is it for today. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.